Welcome to the Do Good Mavericko podcast, episode number 66. Self-education changed my life. When it comes to the modern education system and the modern school system, I think it's one of the biggest scams in the history of the world. But despite how negative I am about the modern school system, I'm not at all negative about education, acquiring knowledge, wisdom, understanding, skills, things like that. One of my biggest pet peeves, or one of my biggest problems with the modern school system, is that it is so little about education. It's more about indoctrination than actual education. So yeah, I'm absolutely not negative when it comes to education and knowledge. When I used to go in primary school, all the way up until I was almost all through entire primary school, and up until I was about 17, 18 years old, I almost hated books, because the books I was forced to read in school, almost all of them, was horrible. So that was kind of forming my view on books, and also in many ways on learning and stuff. So I was extremely negative about it. But then I started reading. I started listening to interviews and stuff about different multimillionaires and successful people. And what kept being repeated over and over again was books. They mentioned they learned this and that in that book, and they kept talking about books. And another thing that was really one of the big milestones that changed a lot for me, and that changed a lot of my view when it comes to reading and self-education, was actually a book by David D'Angelo, Double Your Dating, by David D'Angelo. Now that's his pen name. His actual name is Eben Pagan. But he used to have a lot of information products about dating. And when I think I was 17 or 18, I bought Double Your Dating and a few of his courses. Back then, I barely spoke English, so I was kind of having some challenges reading it. But yeah, it basically really opened my mind to self-education, because David D'Angelo, or Eben Pagan, he talked a lot about the different books he had read. And he was a great marketer. So that in combination with a lot of other interviews that I heard, I think a lot of it was on YouTube, that basically opened my mind to, hey, books, there's actually great books out there as well. It's not just the crap that I used to read in school. So then I bought some books, and it basically totally transformed my view on books and self-education. I read a bunch of Jim Rohn books, and some from John Maxwell, a bunch of business books, marketing books. Yeah, some of the classics. And yeah, to say the least, it changed my life in many ways. And just the opportunities and possibilities that kind of opens up when you acquire more knowledge, understanding. It's mind-boggling. A quote by Jim Rohn: "Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune." And there are some Bible verses about knowledge. Also, that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good, and he that hasteth with his feet sinneth. Proverbs 19:2. And in Hosea 4:6, in the beginning of Hosea 4:6, it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And by the way, here's another Jim Rohn quote. Motivation alone is not enough. If you have an idiot and you motivate him, now you have a motivated idiot. Jim Rohn. That's not the full quote. In a video, Jim Rohn, I heard him say that, or did I read it? That he did not need motivation to speed him up. He needed education to turn him around. Some other Bible verses about knowledge. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 2:6. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7. The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. Proverbs 18:15. The discerning heart seeks knowledge, but the mouth of a fool feeds on folly. Proverbs 15:14. Gold there is and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel. Proverbs 20:15. There we have it from the Bible itself. The tremendous importance of knowledge. And the thing is, when it comes to books, courses, interviews, podcast episodes, articles, case studies, courses, seminars, webinars, stuff like that. When it comes to information in English, because I'm from Norway, so it's very different in Norwegian. But when it comes to in English, the amount of information and knowledge available is mind-boggling. And the thing is, a lot of people think you can just Google it. But oftentimes there's a lot of things that are not available with a simple Google search. Because when you're reading books and getting deeper into things, it is a lot more thorough than a lot of the surface level stuff that tends to come up when quick Google searches. So yeah. And now with AI, artificial intelligence, the amount of knowledge that we have access to is skyrocketing. The self-education. By the way, maybe I should describe better what I mean by self-education. When I say self-education, I'm not talking about going to school and getting a degree. And I'm not talking about getting some kind of degree in the modern education system, but doing it from home part-time. I'm not talking about stuff like that. And neither am I talking about just learning from your own personal experience as the only source of learning. Not that either. It's more like seeking out knowledge, wisdom, understanding from real life experts. It can be experts, it can be real life success stories, it can be from people that lived hundreds of years ago. Yeah, basically learning from others, but trying to find solid sources. So yeah. And it can be in many different forms. It can be books, audio, video. So yeah. Self-education. And the thing is, a lot of self-education can be done many places as well. You can listen to audiobooks while doing chores around the house, cooking, while you're driving, while you're at the gym, if you're on a walk. I don't like to listen to audiobooks if I'm outside walking because safety and stuff, but a lot of other places, driving, the gym. And also, one thing to keep in mind is net time, no extra time. There's often a lot of scenarios where your hands are busy, but your mind is free. Like, for example, if you are cooking or driving, places where there is little traffic, or at the gym, stuff like that, where you can basically be doing two things at the same time. So there's net time, no extra time. You don't have to set aside 20 minutes per day where you're not doing something that you used to do because you're going to spend it reading. That might be a good idea to do, but you don't have to do it that way. Because almost always there is a lot of opportunities with net time where we can use time that we're normally using, but we can use it in a more effective way. So yeah, net time, no extra time. Yeah, that was what I was thinking about when it comes to net time, doing two things at the same time. A lot of people might object and say, yeah, but that's multitasking. You should never multitask because then you're not really paying attention to what you're doing. And yeah, multitasking is usually a very bad idea when it comes to many things. But the thing to keep in mind is channels, as they call it. There are things you can effectively multitask if it is not on the same channel, so to speak. Like, for example, if you are taking a shower and washing your hair, can you listen to an audiobook at the same time? If you have a Bluetooth speaker, can that be done? And then you're doing two things at the same time. You're washing your hair while listening to an audiobook. Yeah, but it's not the same channel. So it doesn't interfere that much because although your hands are busy washing your hair, it's not really occupying the attention in your mind that much because it's such an easy task. But on the other hand, if you are going to listen to an audiobook while you're doing a phone call, now it's on the same channel because both of them requires your attention and thinking. So that's an example of non-effective multitasking. But in some cases, it can be done effectively. And maybe if you're driving some places where there is not much traffic and not much distractions, then you can actually safely be driving while paying attention to the road and also listening to an audiobook. But then if you're going into crazy traffic with a lot of things going on, now it might not be effective to listen to an audiobook at the same time. So yeah, my point is sometimes there is a lot of net time, no extra time, where you can effectively be kind of multitasking. You can be educating yourself while doing things that you're normally doing anyway. There was a study that Zig Ziglar used to quote. He said that if you, I might be misquoting this a little bit, but roughly it went like this. There was a study that had been done by some university, I think, and they basically found that if you were living in, I think it was a suburban area, a bit outside of a city, and if you drove a car as much as the average person did in the span of, I think it was 3 years, if you were listening to audiobooks every single time when you were driving your car, after 3 years, that amounted to, was it 1 or 2 years of higher education, something like that. I was kind of butchering that quote, but yeah, it was a crazy amount it amounted to if you're just simply listening to audiobooks while driving. And that's just one place you can do it. There's many other areas in life as well. So it's kind of like an automobile university that Zig Ziglar used to call it, as you could basically turn your car into a kind of education place on wheels. So yeah, self-education. Almost no matter what you want to do, what goals you have, what projects you have going, what things you want to accomplish, there's probably other people that has done very similar things that you can learn from, and you can basically cut years, in some case even decades, of your learning curve. If you have an expert that has been doing the same thing for several decades, and he is maybe even one of the top experts in the world on that subject, and that person then writes a book on like 200 to 400 pages where he is sharing some of the best lessons he has learned after several decades on that subject. Imagine the kind of things you can learn that quickly, like a few afternoons, and you can read through the entire book and learn some of the major lessons that person himself spent decades to learn himself. Wasn't it Sir Isaac Newton, I think, that said in a letter that if he had seen far, it was by standing on the shoulders of giants. Are you standing on the shoulders of giants, or are you starting from scratch? Model what works. Like Jim Rohn used to say, success leaves clues. And when it comes to self-education, who should you learn from? It's especially three things I keep in mind. They should be experts at what they're talking about, really know what they're talking about, and they should, two things. They should be an expert, really know what they're talking about, and they should care about you, or at least want the best for you. Because there are some experts that don't care, and then they might really not care much about the advice they give you. But that is especially if you're going to have a mentor or coach. If it's books, is of course different. But how do you know that someone is an expert? It can be difficult if someone is a legit expert, or if they're kind of like one of the fake experts, especially these days on the internet. But two ways to oftentimes find out. One, if they have performed at a spectacularly high level. Like, for example, if it is a business expert, okay, if you had made over $1 billion in profit, yeah, that's a legit expert, because it's very hard to make $1 billion out of pure luck. People get lucky and can make a few $1,000,000 out of almost pure luck, but it's very hard to make $1 billion out of pure luck. So yeah, either perform at a spectacular high level, kind of like that, or made hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. Either that, or that they have done maybe at a lower level, maybe they have made a few $1,000,000, but they have done it several times. A guy might make $15 million in profit out of almost pure luck, where the major factor was basically luck. He was at the right place at the right time. But doing that over and over and over again, several times, like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, now it starts to get very unlikely that it is pure luck that is causing his success. So but you can also, in some cases, look at the results of their students or the people they have mentored as well. If they have made a lot of other people successful, and they are actually the main person or the main mentor that was actually responsible for teaching them or helping them with most of it, of course, that can also be a way to find legit experts. But that one can be tricky, especially with all the fake stuff going on the internet. But yeah, if you look for those factors, it can help you avoid a lot of fake experts out there, because if you get the wrong information, it might be even harmful. There are some anti-advice out there, and it's kind of tricky because oftentimes people think they are successful because, like, there's these 5 reasons why I made $10 million, people might say. And they were listing the 5 reasons, but no, it was not. That was not the reasons they made $10 million. 2 of those reasons was maybe right. The 3 other ones had nothing to do with it at all. And there's like maybe 5 or 10 other reasons that also contributed to them being successful, but they're not aware of it themselves. So it can be really tricky to get solid advice. That's one of the reasons you see so much conflicting advice, especially on the internet, and especially amongst less skilled experts. And there's also personality, scenarios, situations. So it is different. Even 2 billionaires can have dramatically different daily schedules and style and way of going about doing things. So yeah, it can be tricky, but that's the way it is. Biographies and autobiographies can also be tremendously helpful. Imagine all the lessons that people are learning from decades of life. So if you read the autobiographies of super successful people, just imagine the things you can learn and mistakes you can avoid. So yeah, that's just a bunch of my reasons for self-education, for why I am recommending self-education. And it's also one of the reasons why I am building my own online education and community platform that I call Terrific 30, which is basically the concept where I am interviewing 30 different experts or real life success stories on the same subject. And then I'm turning those 30 interviews into a course and a community, and in many cases also a book. And that's the concept. Because when you get the perspective from 30 different real life success stories, it's not just theory anymore, it's real life success stories. And if many of them are also recent, and you see 30 different people answering almost the exact same questions on the exact same subject, then you can start to see patterns yourself, what they actually have in common, what you think is actually the main reason for their success, and you can model what works. And you can also combine things from different ones into your own master plan. Yeah. Like the Bible says about going to war with a multitude of counselors, and the importance of having multiple advisors. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm building Terrific 30. And the last few weeks, I have focused on interviewing a bunch of people about their paid community success stories. People are making at least $10,000 in profit per month from running their own paid community. And it's been fascinating. People making like over $10,000 in profit per month, up to even six to 7 figures in profit per month. And many of them are also doing it semi-passively, where they're working like only a few hours per week. So yeah, a fascinating concept. If you want to learn more about those, and you want to learn from those real life success stories yourself, go check out communitycashcows.com. All right. God bless.